playing there as an opponent versus playing there as a member of the home team. How's that been just to be on that side of it, to experience those fans and that atmosphere rooting for you as opposed to groaning when you put the ball in the net?
Yeah, I think that's always the nice part about. I mean, anywhere you go, but especially here, playing at home is they're not yelling against me anymore. I'm on the on the good side in this sense, and
Hello, welcome to the United Soccer Lounge. My name is Riley James. Thank you so much for watching the show. Today we welcome Cal Jennings to the program from the Charleston Battery, the co-leading goal scorer this year in USL Championship, has the Charleston Battery first place in the Eastern Conference as we record here on July 16th. We talk everything about Charleston Battery's 2025, as well as looking back on his time in Tampa and Memphis, and looking forward to this playoff run, to the future of USL Championship with promotion relegation coming, and what to expect when you arrive in Charleston, South Carolina to watch some soccer. Super excited to welcome him to the show. If you like us and you want to continue watching our content, you can subscribe to us, the United Soccer Lounge on Goals.tv or Goals TV on YouTube. You can find both of our platforms and catalogs there. That'll do it for us off the top of the show. Thank you so much for watching, and here's our interview with Cal Jennings of the Charleston Battery. Please welcome to the show a man who has spent time all over USL Championship. He is the co-Golden Boot leader as we sit in mid-July, and his team is in first place, the Charleston Battery in the Eastern Conference as of July 16th. Please welcome to the show someone who I hope to be a friend of the program. He already seems to be, Cal Jennings. Cal, thank you so much for making time, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Uh, I said in the pre-show, and I meant it, you've become a very popular man in South Carolina. And after years in Tampa Bay and the same conference, I'm sure they're very thrilled to have you on their side as opposed to the boys down in Tampa. But no, man, there's a lot to get to today, and we're super excited to have you. We always tend to start in the present and we work our way backwards. So let's talk about Charleston, South Carolina for just a moment. A lot of goals in your career, but you've been able to get on the score sheet quite a bit for the Battery. How have you been able to plug in so easily?
Yeah, I mean, it's always the hope. You go to a new place, you want to start off scoring, and sometimes it works out that way, sometimes it doesn't. But my mindset, going into a new spot is just try and be as adaptable as possible. Every team's got their different philosophy and style of play, and I bring a particular skill set to that. But at the end of the day, I try to do my best to fit into the style of play. If it's a heavy crossing team, I got to find ways to get in the box. If the focus is on playing on defense, I got to find ways to get goals off turnovers. So there's a lot of different ways teams can win and score goals, and I just try to be adaptable. And then also just intentionality. I think I'm a pretty decent person in relationships, and I know when we trust one another, we play better together. So I think I get people to buy into me pretty easily, and therefore I can better understand how to serve them and how to work off them as well.
Isn't it so much fun to like your teammates and be able to play together? I mean, we've seen that across all sports, all across the world. Is if the team likes each other, they usually win a lot of games together, which is so cool. And it seems like you fit in so well in Charleston. And it's been kind of a tactical shift last year. Obviously, Nick Marcanic had the year that he had. He moved to Europe, and you got to fill the void in the goal scoring. And Charleston's been able to do that. And in a different way than last year, but obviously signing you over from Tampa Bay and kind of fitting into a great roster with two friends of the show, obviously Aaron Malloy and Arturo Rodriguez, both on the show last year, and they were great guests and going on to do great things in 2025. But over the course of your time in USL, you've been able to read those defenses and getting goal scoring opportunities, not just in Charleston, but before. What is it about the preparation the week before and game day that helps you be able to understand what they're doing defensively and exploit that?
Yeah, I think first of all, I really try and focus on a game to game basis. So when we're going into the game, we get a great scouting report on what the other team's like, how they're going to play, what their strengths are and weaknesses. And so I have an idea of like, okay, these are the type of chances that I'm more likely to get. If a team is sitting back deep, there's probably not going to be a lot of chance to run in behind. We're going to have to break them down with possession, or when they get the ball, we're going to have to do a good job turning them over and moving quickly. So I think some of it is reading the other team, and then the second part of it is really just trying to do what I do well.
Yeah.
Focusing on, okay, well, what are my strengths, and can I get myself in those positions as much as possible? Can I get myself into the box? Can I encourage my teammates to get me the ball? Can I set others up? Is this a game that I need to do that? So it is a little different here and there, but really just focusing on my strengths.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun to score goals. So continuing to do that any way you can has always been the goal of any player who is just. I mean, you've been that over the course of your career. It's just always being in the right position, and that comes from preparation. That also comes from being an opportunist, which you have proven to be both over the course of your career. Um, Now, you come from Tampa, and obviously you were in Memphis before, so you're aware of the Charleston Battery and the consistency to be at the top of the Eastern Conference, and with that, at the top of USL Championship. When you arrived, what were the expectations of Charleston, and how have they either, exceeded those expectations or maybe even, gone away from those expectations of what this club does right and how you fit into that club?
Yeah, I think when I signed on early in the year, I knew I was stepping into a good situation, a competitive team who, has been really close to winning the championship the past couple of years, and a talented team. So these are all things that I knew. But I think what I, saw that really makes Charleston special and has, especially over the past couple of years, is just everyone pulling in the same direction. Whether it's ownership, whether it's the leaders we have, the decision makers, coach, GM, all the way down to the players. You can tell it's a really cohesive group that's working together and cares about each other. And like you said earlier in the show, if you care about each other, if you like spending time together, that makes it a whole lot easier to have success. Makes it easier to get over the tough moments in the season because every team has them. Every team
Yeah.
has a bad performance. Every team has, a lost opportunity. And you've got to be able to be resilient and bounce back. And it helps when you're doing it with friends. So
One more thing before we move away from the Battery and kind of go macro for just a moment. That game day experience that you guys have in Charleston, I mean, the incredible atmosphere, the incredible stadium, the kind of the atmospheric feel of what it's like when that team takes the field when you guys are winning games and scoring goals. Playing there as an opponent versus playing there as a member of the home team, how's that been just to be on that side of it, to experience those fans and that atmosphere rooting for you as opposed to groaning when you put the ball in the net?
yeah, I think that's always the nice part about. I mean, anywhere you go, but especially here, playing at home is they're not yelling against me anymore. I'm on the on the good side in this sense, and so I feel the support. I feel the fans that come out day in and day out rooting for us are there in the tough times and the good. And it pushes you onwards. You want to play this game in front of crowds and in good environments, and honestly, in beautiful environments as well. I think it's awesome that we can see the Ravenel Bridge in the back of the stadium, and I think from a fan perspective, if you can catch a great soccer match and have a good view, that's an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, we've seen that with a lot of USL stadiums across the league. They've been able to include the city and make sure that yes, we're supporting the club and the 11 players on the pitch and the a couple more on the bench, but this is a representation of the town that we're in, which is so cool and something very uniquely USL, even from the championship to League One, even League Two, some spots has those types of clubs, which is really, really great. I want to move to the macro. Now, you're a fellow Southerner like me. You're from Georgia. I'm from Louisiana. We grew up in SEC states. Like I love college football. I love SEC football, but ultimately, soccer has been the thing that's a passion of mine. Growing up, you and I are not far apart. I think 3 years in age. Soccer was a bit of a lonely experience for me. I don't know if that's the same thing for you, but to see how much it's grown in southern states, especially with the success of expansion teams to Major League Soccer and what that's brought, but in USL as well. How do you feel seeing so many passionate soccer fans across the South and just the support that they have for their local teams.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, you touched on it a bit. When I was growing up, there weren't all that many professional teams in and around the Southeast. So that pathway wasn't. I don't think it was really on my mind. Like, hey, I'm gonna go play for the local professional soccer team because it just wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily a path, or it wasn't necessarily there. But yeah, to see the support that these communities are having for their local team, and how people are just taking to the sport itself, the passion is growing. It's a really awesome thing. It's a thing you dream about as a kid, and I'm happy it's happening all around my hometown now, and that's a real positive. And I think there's still some continued growth and following. I'm a big college football fan too, and I love the little traditions here and there that
Yeah.
each university has that kind of make the environment unique. And I'm seeing that more and more as I'm going to different teams in the USL or MLS or whatever. So I think soccer is growing, and that's a positive here.
Yeah. And shout out to your 2017 national champion UCF Knights, by the way. Yeah, that was a cool moment to see UCF get some love. I went to college at Full Sail in Winter Park.
Okay,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, very familiar with that area. And obviously, without sports teams, a lot of folks drift towards the Knights
Hey,
in
that
Orlando.
was a good time. I was in college during that time, so that was a fantastic team for a couple of years.
But it's so cool, and it's what I said though. Like it's a lonely experience in the South, but now you look across, you have a professional soccer team in Birmingham, Alabama, and Statesboro, Georgia, and all over Florida, from Naples to Sarasota to multiple teams in Tampa Bay. Like it is just grown into this thing that I don't think a lot of people have expected it to be. Obviously, the Carolinas have their own soccer history, but just to see it growing. And even here in Louisiana, we have a USL 2 team. It's back here behind me. It's like,
Yeah.
man, it's so cool to be able to see soccer do well in the South. And, you know, I attribute a lot of that to like the tribalism of college football. I think a lot of people would understand and appreciate some of the traditions and kind of rudiments they have in soccer as well. So it's a great thing. I'm happy you're on the same page as I am about saying that. Speaking of growth and USL and all these things, you've been in this league long enough to have seen it grown. And this is kind of a two-part. I'll let you answer this one first. From your time in Memphis to your time now here in Charleston, what's the biggest change you've kind of seen from the league?
Yeah. So it was a little interesting because I entered right in the COVID year, so I got a
Yeah.
very different first experience from everything else.
Is it crazy
But
to think that was like 5 years ago?
it's yeah, that's wild. That was it. But I think really one thing is the standards. You can tell that the standards are getting higher. There's more pressure to pay players to provide the right resources for success. There's more pressure to invest in your community, invest in your stadium situation, your training facility, and I think you're seeing players as well see the USL pathway as a realistic option to develop as a professional, but also like some to stay, and
Yeah.
be like, this is the league I call home. This is the league I want to help better U.S. soccer, and I think that's what's great about it is you're touching so many different markets now that you weren't when I was growing up, or you weren't even when I was in college. And so those kids see that, all the local kids in Charleston, they see I can, play for the Battery or in Tampa Bay or in, like you said, Statesboro. There's even a route in Statesboro for kids to move on, go into the professional game and really excel playing a sport that they love, and that's an incredible thing. So I think the league's in a good place and is pushing standards. And I hope they continue to be pushed because I don't even think we're fully there yet, and that's the exciting part about it.
Well, and I think it's going to help out tremendously when a team in Statesboro, Georgia, has an opportunity to play their way into USL Championship with promotion relegation, right?
Yeah.
That's a massive thing coming. It's something a lot of American players have never experienced. And I've talked to people with Indy 11. I've talked to people all over the league that have played in those relegation battles or playing for promotion, and that it's just an entirely different atmosphere. The way the league is going to change in the next couple of years, has there been conversations in the locker room about these things, and what are you feeling about the way USL is moving with promotion relegation?
Yeah, there's been conversations. I think there's an all around excitement for it. I'm excited about it. I think it'll make the league, even that much more interesting
Yeah.
because every game matters. You can get in the dog days of summer, like I had a teammate say today, and it gets kind of monotonous. You're like, all right, keep pushing. Let's get in a good playoff spot. Let's win the conference. Um, but if you're a struggling team, you're not so much. You're just ready for the season to be over. So now these teams have something to play for. They have their spot. No, we want to stay up here. We want to set ourselves up as good as we can for next year. And I think you see that all over the world. So it's about time we adopt some of their models and make the game more exciting here too.
Right. It makes it so exciting for clubs in USL League One to have the opportunity. Like Omaha is so deserving of a lot of things, but to play their way into the next league after winning the league, USL League One multiple years, and just all the opportunities. And obviously, Division One's going to be a cool thing to see who gets in there and who's able to play their way in. Maybe people feel like they're shafted by the application process and they win that first year in championship. Like, who knows? It's going to be very exciting. I know I'm desperately trying to keep my job until then, which the whole thing in media is like, it's as long as you don't get fired that day, it's awesome. It's a good day. This one's we have 5 minutes left. I'm going to use this to appease the Instagram audience.
Sounds
Um,
good.
your hair care and like the flow that you have. Can you explain to people what you do to make sure that your hair looks the way it does? Because it is marvelous. It really
Oh, I,
is.
I appreciate. I actually just got a haircut yesterday, so it looks maybe the best it can right now. Honestly, I don't do enough. My wife is always on me, and she's trying to help me to take better care of my skin, take better care of my hair. So I really have to credit her for still having hair. But I try to not put it up as much as possible because I know that messes the hair up a little bit and it creates loose ends and stuff. And honestly, I'm just enjoying it while I can. I don't know how long I'll have it, but I'm attached to it, so it's hard to let it go.
It's been like the calling card since you've been in the league, right? Like you've always had that hair and it's been so cool to see it like transform over the years and the way it looks right now is fantastic. I'm going to get my hair cut in about 45 minutes and I I I want it to be that, but it grows up and out for me. It doesn't grow back. I've always
That's
wanted
all
it.
right. Yeah, you find your own style and you run with it.
Yeah, but no, it's good. That's going to be a good Instagram clip. But one last thing, we'll let you go on this. Thank you so much for the time, man. I certainly appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
Stepping away, like obviously soccer is your job and that's a passion of yours and it's something you've done for a long time in your life. But finding kind of your day off regimen in South Carolina, obviously you probably have gotten this routine down by now, but what do you do over the course of a typical day that does not involve a soccer ball? Say you have a day off, say Victory Monday or whatever the version of that is in the USL. What do you like to do to be able to kind of step away from this game and not get burnt out, not have those dog days of summer moments like you were just talking about?
Yeah, no, I think it's extremely important to have outlets, and I think I do a pretty good job of that. My wife and I, we love, seeing the town. We love going to new restaurants. We love going to the parks, the beaches. I would say we're both pretty outdoorsy people. And even we got a chance to go camping for a weekend this year that we had off, which was kind of fun, before the heat came in the summer. But I think, yeah, just finding. I love watching movies. We found a local movie theater that we like going to. And then probably the one that I always talk about is I'm a huge board gamer. Love teaching it to guys on the team, but I have kind of a collection of my own as well. And so every opportunity, especially an off day, I'm looking to, to play a board game with someone or work on some ideas of my own because, I got aspirations at some point to be a board game designer if I can come up with a good idea. So.
See, that's why I love this show. What other show are you going to find out about Cal Jennings and his aspirations to after his career to design board games? Like, what other shows are going to provide that? So I'm super excited to, I'll be your first supporter. I'll go and buy it because I like board games as well.
Hey, I appreciate that. I'll let you know. I'll let you know once I produce one. I got a couple ideas in the works, so.
No, that's cool, man. But like, I was talking to Sebastian Velasquez, who's over in Greenville, South Carolina, and he grew up there, but he came back after a while. South Carolina sounds awesome. I've been there once or twice in my life, and to be able to have those those types of outlets, to the natural outlets, going to the beach, having the opportunity to not be that far away from the mountains and do some hiking, the parks and everything. It's got to be a really cool place to live. And not to like, I don't know, demean any of the other places that you've been able to spend time at your career, but South Carolina's got to be one of your favorites, right?
Yeah, I mean, we love it so far. Like you said, there's so many different types of landscapes. I mean, it's got the beach town vibe, and I already love the ocean, so that helps. And then honestly, it's got a really underrated food scene.
Yeah.
So I would say anybody visiting South Carolina, like so many great restaurants to choose from as well.
And this guy's from Georgia. He knows food. You know, we do it right in the South, and South Carolina's still the South, but like there's definitely different regions that has their own specialty. So I'm happy you're enjoying yourself. Thank you so much for making time for the show, man. Best of luck the rest of the way and stay healthy.
All right, I appreciate you, Rodney.
Super thankful to everyone with Charleston and obviously Cal for his time. Third player on from the Battery. All of them have made significant impacts through their time. You know, Aaron Malloy and Arturo Rodriguez are still with the club and still contributing. So to add Cal to that list is incredible. And by the way, Arturo, I actually talked to him a couple weeks ago. He is still the leading assister in 2025 like he was in 2024. He's back up at the top of the charts again for his second season in a row. And I don't know what it is about Charleston, but they've given us the best of the best when it comes to their players. And we are super thankful for their contribution to our program and their continued support of what we like to do at the United Soccer Lounge. So go follow them on social. Go watch their games if you're in the Charleston area. And just make sure you support them because they've supported us. And I can't be more thankful for that. So speaking of supporting us, you can. I'm at Riley James IAC on Instagram and X. The show's Instagram account is at USL on Goals. The parent company is at goals.tv on Instagram, at goals_TV on X. And there's many great creators making content about the world of soccer and everything in it, including the entire catalog of my show from beginning to end on www.goals.tv. That will do it for us. Thank you so much for watching the show. My name is Riley James for Cal Jennings, if anyone cares. We'll see you again on Tuesday